Yeah, okay. Right here. So hopefully you recognize this screen. This is the first screen that you see when you log into teacher mode. If you see over here, it says you are in teacher mode. So this is where you arrive if you've got your teacher login or your teacher USO if you're on the London Grid for Learning. And this is the very first screen you see. If you log in with a classroom login or a pupil USO, this is what they see. So I'll just switch back again. So it's important from the off to understand that the teacher mode is where you change what the pupils see in their mode. So you're customizing busy things for them. And hopefully you notice then when I switch between the pupil mode and the teacher mode that the main differences are this area here, the bar along the top, and these little drop downs here. So these are what you are given to customize what is happening behind here, which is what the pupils see in pupil mode. So I'm going to go through the most sort of powerful aspects of these teacher tools now and show you how it is changing what the pupils see. So when you first get busy things, you get, I'll go in early years because there was a lot of early years. You get what we call setups. You can see the word setup there, and it says made by busy things. So these are ones that we have made, year 1, year 2 in the key stage 1 area, made by busy things. And behind that are all these colored subject areas and these yellow buttons here. So behind the colored buttons are all the activities, and then the yellow ones are there to, they're kind of like places where you can put things. So you've got a favorites area, an assignments area, a files area, and I'll be talking about those shortly. So every setup comes with all subjects switched on and all the activities configured to the appropriate level. So that's what you get by default. But what we want you to do is create your own setup so that any changes you make to busy things are unique to you. So you need to jump up here. This is the first screen you see when you log in, to manage setups and create your own setup. So we'll go ahead now and create one for early years. So I'm clicking on create new setup for early years. And I'm going to give it a name. And I'm going to set it to upper reception. Now, it could be that you're teaching a mixed year group class. Don't worry about that because setups can be customized going forward. It's just that we do an initial sweep here of content. And you can change your icon. So let's choose a paintbrush. And you can change your background. I'm going to choose that one and click save. So you can see this list here is a sort of teacher review of the age bands on the welcome screen. We've got early years, key stage 1, key stage 2, and we've just made this one here. And I'll show you that now. It will have appeared here. There it is. And it's orange. And it says made by school. So you made this. And hopefully if all the early years, key stage 1, key stage 2 staff make their own setups, you can then go into here and hide all the default ones so that the children aren't distracted by those. So I've switched them off, shown in teacher mode, pupil mode, switched off. So now when we go into early years, we've just got our class. So you can imagine you might have several setups in here for each class, but you can also, a setup doesn't have to be just for a class. It could be for an individual pupil, it could be for an after school club, it could be for a topic, because you can completely customize what is behind your setup. So I'm going to show you a few ways of doing that now. I'll just show you what the pupils are seeing now. So obviously if you've done that and the early years pupils go in here, they just see this, everything else has disappeared. Some schools prefer to remove these age bands so that all the setups are just displayed in pupil mode. That's because you've maybe got pupils that don't want to know they're in an early years setup, that are maybe working at a lower level. I'll just show you how to do that, because it's quite a useful setting. If you go up to account settings and look at advanced settings and show all setups without age bands, pupil mode only, save. Now when I go to pupil mode, I just see all the setups. So if you can imagine, you've got all your classes, maybe some after school clubs, and the children know which one is theirs. You can, let's go back to teacher mode. You can also give a setup a username and password. If I go into manage setups, unfortunately this isn't available to LGFL users yet, but we're hopeful that it will become available next year. So you can have, I've clicked on settings there, you can have your own username and password for your own pupils and your setup. And if the children log in with that, then they'll bypass absolutely everything and they'll just land in the setup that you've made for them. So they would land, when they log into Busy Things, they would arrive here if you set a username and password for your own setup. Okay, so we've made a setup and now we want to start finding content quickly and easily. So I'm back in teacher mode. The crudest way to do that is to literally just start clicking around your setup. And you notice when you're in teacher mode, you have this little blue button here on every single activity. Now the blue button is key to teacher mode because everything that you can do is off there. Yeah, and also in teacher mode you get filters up here, so I can look at I can switch off all the games or just look at the printables within mathematics and calculating. If you're not sure what these filters mean, then they are labeled here and you'll start to become familiar with them. Okay, so that's not a terribly efficient way of finding content, but it is one way of finding content. The best way of finding content is to use these teacher tools here. So you've got two, you've got a search tool and a curriculum browser. Both these are hopefully going to help you find content quickly. So I'll go into search and you can see here, I can work down here. I can enter a search term. I can see the results coming up the right here. And then I could start drilling down into subject area and activity type. But we'll just leave it like that for now. So you can see I've very quickly got a selection of activities. Just ignore this one, that's because this is my account. Sorry, I've got somebody trying to get in, I think. So we've got a list here, and as I mentioned, these are the buttons that we're interested in. So I'm going to add to favorites in my, and I'm also, I'll do a different one. I'm going to make a pin. So pin to set up homepage. And I'm going to call this Tuesday Fun. And I want to pin it to Mrs. Hall. All the setups that are available in Busy Things are there at the moment. And I'm going to choose a template. That's because this is an activity that has templates. And if you don't choose a template for an activity that has templates, the children will get to choose their own. I'm not going to customize the title and instructions, and I'm going to click confirm. So that's telling me you've made a little pin here called Tuesday Fun, and you've put it in Mrs. Hall's class. So I'm going to close that. So we did two things there for using this button. When you're searching activities, the idea is that you can very quickly go in and look at them. Let's look at this one. You can read about them here. You can see where it is in your setup. So this is in understanding the world, animals, and see where it's sitting. You can view the curriculum links. And if I save those out as a PDF, I can also include an activity screenshot and description. So you have a nice A4 sheet that explains the activity and the links to it. This one is one that we can assign, but I'll get to that. So you can have a quick look at the activity when you're in a search tool. If you like it, you come straight back to search and you jump on the blue button and you can add to favorites or pin to homepage. So let's see what we've just done. So I made this pin here called Tuesday Fun, and in that is Make a Mini Beast. Notice I'm still in teacher mode, which is why I've still got this blue button. The children will not see that or this because they will be in pupil mode. And the other thing we did was we added to favorites here another activity. Again, this would not be visible. So we've still got a lot of distraction here. So a very quick fix is to jump up to hide show content in teacher mode and click hide all. And you can see what that's done is it's hidden everything, and I've got these no entry signs, which means I can just bring back certain areas, or I could click show all again. Quite often it's more useful to start by hiding all and then just reveal the activities you want. But I'm just going to hide all to just show you how quick that is. I'll switch to pupil mode, go in here, and then all I've got is this pin. So if you imagine you've just done that quickly, and the children can come in and all they can access in pupil mode is this Make a Mini Beast activity. When you pin an activity that has templates, I'll just do some of this. And save. It comes with a My Files area. So when you come back as a teacher, you will be able to find the children's work in here. And because you're in teacher mode, you get all your options up here. So you can imagine everybody's mini beast would be building up here. There's your blue button. This gives you an option to create a PDF, create a JPEG and delete, so you can manage the files. Or yeah, up here you get an overall, select all and export as PDF, so you can export the whole body of work into one document. Right, so what I've shown you is how you can pin an activity and then hide absolutely everything else. So I'm going to bring everything back now. Restore default, done. You can do the same with favorites. You can use this padlock button. This is another way of keeping children out of things. What the padlock button does is basically it removes the back button. The padlock button is available everywhere. So it's available within a game, on an activity menu, within a subject area. So depending on what level you want, you can use it. So all you do is you've got to have your teacher password. You click on it, type in your teacher password, and there we go. There's no back button. Switch to pupil mode. So it's quite nice for putting things on the whiteboard quickly, or on a communal machine that the children are taking turns on, because they cannot get out to the rest of busy things. Right, we'll just switch that back on. Switch back to teacher mode. I could authorize this session. I recommend you click that box when you're having a play with this. But I don't want to do that now, because I want to reiterate that you can't switch between the modes without that password. So we're back here. I'm going to show you one other very quick way of changing what the children see in your class setup. So if you're clicking through the menus and you think, oh, I'd like the children to do these animal activities, you could jump up to hide show content, hide all, like I said, just reveal the ones that you want them to concentrate on. Click done. That's everything hidden. And then jump up to Mrs. Hall's settings, that's the name of your class, and change the landing page to use current page. I click save. So now the landing page of my class setup is this. So that means when the children click on my setup, they just land here. These are the 4 activities, the 5 activities that I revealed. They looked like that. I've just, in the early years, the view defaults to grid, and the teacher mode usually shows a list, but you can have that view for your children as well. That's this button here. So as I said, that is all they can see now. And the way to put that all back is to go to teacher mode again, hide show content, restore defaults, and then back to Mrs. Hall's settings, landing page, use setups, home page. Okay. Right, so just to confirm, that should all be back to normal now. Okay, so I've shown you a few ways there of customizing within the setup. Let's have a look at this search tool now. And this is a tool that uses these 4 documents. So you can drill down into a particular learning objective. Let's do maths, shape, space, measure. and start looking at the games that come up. Early learning goal. So again, use the play button to have a look. If you like it, this is the button that you need to start using. So let's just go through these again. Add to favorites, activity info, curriculum links. Create shortcut is a useful one for sending work home. So you can click specific setup login here and then change it to Mrs. Hall and then make shortcut. So this link here is the link that you send or use to say, can you play this activity? So if you send that home, as long as the children have got their classroom login or your class setup login or their Pupil USO, they will land inside this activity here, and that's all they will be able to do. Okay, so we haven't looked at assigning activities yet. I'm going to do that in a minute. Related activities are activities that are similar or complement. Go to location shows you whereabouts it is in your setup, and the pin we have done. So this assign activity is available for certain activities. It's activities that we can basically get a result from. So we can actually look at how well the children did. So because a lot of our games are open-ended, not everything is assignable. But if it is, you'll see it in this drop-down menu. Alternatively, you can start using this assignments area here. So let's do one.
Excuse me?
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you. I want to ask one question.
Yeah.
I found many works which I cannot assign to my child, many activities. How I'm supposed to assign that?
Well, that's because there's only, can I just mute you while that's because there's only certain activity types at the moment that you can assign. So you can only assign quizzes, projects, and worksheets. And that's because these are the ones where we can actually track a result. It is changing slightly in September, but I don't want to confuse you all with that right now, because I'm hoping that you're going to use what I show you today for maybe sending some stuff home over the summer to help children catch up a little. In September, it will get a lot more sophisticated. It's behind the scenes stuff that we're working on now should a lockdown happen again. And basically the children will all have an individual timeline that you'll be able to go into and see what they've been doing. But for now, you can only assign quizzes, projects, and worksheets. So I'm going to go ahead and assign a project. So if I click start, animals in the jungle, you can see I've got assign activity here, and I can put my name on, choose a template. Again, if you don't choose a template, the children will get to choose which animal. And if you give an assignment a start date, be careful, because it won't appear in pupil mode. It won't appear for the pupils in your class setup until that date. So don't go looking for it, because it won't be there. But what this does mean is that you can make assignments appear and disappear. So if you wanted to set a few up for the summer holidays, you could do that by giving them a start date and an end date. I'm not going to do that now because we want to go straight to it. So I have assigned animals in the jungle. So now if I go, you can see but it's jumped onto the top here. Show assignments in setup, Mrs. Hall. So this is the only assignment I've made at the moment, and I've had no submissions. That's because nobody's done it yet. So I'm going to go and do it now, as if I'm in pupil mode. You can see I've got number 1 here in assignments. That's telling the children there's an assignment in there for you. There it is. So LGFL users, they won't need to type their name in. Come September, they won't need to type their name in, but for the summer and the rest of the school year, the subscribers direct with Busy Things, the children will need to identify themselves here. So then, if you imagine, the art tools are available here in this very simple project. We've obviously got projects where you're asked to write about things and use clip art. So let's just submit that. That asked me to submit when I left, so they can't really fail to submit it. If I go back in now into the assignments, you can see I've had 1 submission, and if I look at my results, you can see it's there. So the classwork would build up all the way down here, and you'll be able to select all and export as PDF. You can click on the work to get a reasonable sized thumbnail. So if it was a piece of topic work where the children were writing about something, you'd be able to have a quick read of what they've done. At the moment, you can't comment on the work, but in September, you will be able to. So we are building up all these areas that we think will be useful for children working remotely. But there are still several things that you can do right now, which are very nice. So let's assign a quiz now to show you. I'm not sure we've got any quizzes in early years because it does involve a level of reading. So I'm just going to assign one for Key Stage 1. So this isn't going to show me, I'm just choosing 1 round. I don't want the children to review their answers. I'm not going to give it a start date or an end date because this is a Key Stage 1 quiz. I'm going to put it into the Year 1 setup. It's gone into here. So imagine Year 1, there's my assignment. I've had no submissions. So the Year 1 pupil comes along and there's their assignments area. I've just assigned this. Put my name in. Got 9 questions. I'm not going to read them because we don't want to spend too long on this. So I'm just going to answer them so I can show you how the results are collated in quizzes. So it says your assignment has been submitted. So here I am back as a teacher. I can see I've had 1 submission here and I can see my results here. So we only did 1 round. Normally a quiz would have 2 or 3 rounds. So you can imagine it would probably take up the width of this. And the results would build up down here and you could hopefully start to see which questions were causing the most problem. You can click on the cross to review the actual question and get an idea of how the class is understanding certain aspects of whatever the quiz was on. And again, look at your teacher bar. You've got options here to select all and export results. All your options are in the teacher bar at any one time. So we've done an assignment of a quiz and a project. A worksheet is what we call labeling, categorizing, or ordering activities. So we did see some early years ones here to do with shape, didn't we? So I can show you, name the 2D shapes, how many sides. And again, you just go through this process here of assigning the activity. I'll just do it again really quickly. How many corners? Next, I'm going to put it into Mrs. Hall's setup. I'm not going to give it a start date. So again, here it is, back at the top, no submissions. I can show you what that looks like to the pupils. It is here. So that's another assignment for them to do, and it's an interactive worksheet. Assignment results are stored as thumbnails, a bit like the animals in the jungle. So you can see where they put the different labels or objects. If there's something you cannot find on Busy Things, it's possible to make your own custom project. So if you want the children to write about something or draw something, then this is an opportunity to create a project for them. So if you just go to Busy Paint and Publisher, I was here, custom project, assign activity, and start. You can tell them what you would like them to do. So it could be my summer. And then you get an opportunity to browse all our templates. So we have, this is a folder here. So that's a folder of painting templates for creating drawings. And this is a folder of writing templates for the writing ones. So if you wanted them to make a poster, you could choose one of these. If you wanted them to write about something and illustrate it, you could choose one of these. The pen is your painting area and the A is your typing area. So there's a whole load of stuff there. Let's just look at the painting templates. These are ready-made portrait and landscape ones. These are just areas. So you could just choose a really simple one like this and save, close. So early years, got 3 assignments now. You can imagine that you've sent them this and you just want them to draw a picture about their summer. They can type in here and then they've got access to all our tools and clip art and speech bubbles to create a piece of work. So again, submit, and back in your assignments area, you've got 1 submission and you could start to see the children's work build up here. So if there are things that you want to use Busy Things for where we haven't got a ready-made resource, that's a way of making your own. Okay, so talking about making your own resources, the last area I'm going to talk about now is this printable resource maker. And in here you can make worksheets for children to use away from the screen. So we've got pink phonics ones and orange maths ones. So let's just jump straight in to make a phonics worksheet. You get a description here of what it is you can create: letter formation, grapheme cards, matching pictures to words, missing letter worksheet. So let's do one of those. Every single worksheet has the same system. So you work from the top down on this blue panel, and the very first thing you do is choose content. So I'm going to pick my own words, and I'm going to look for words containing double O, and you can click and here and see which image comes up for each word, see if it's a word you want. I'm just going to select all for speed's sake, and you can see I've got some double O words there. And then once you've got your content, you can start changing what you see by clicking these buttons here. So obviously, depending on what worksheet you're making, these options will change, but have a play with all of them. And then you can go straight to make a PDF, or you can save the settings here. So if you save the settings, you could obviously create a whole range of worksheets and then just come to them when you need them. So file has been saved. You have a save folder out here. So we created a missing letters worksheet. These are other ones I've done. I can open that again and make a PDF. Same with the maths. If you look in the, just comment on this, there's a huge amount. Phoneme spotting, which is the right spelling, more advanced missing letters, pairing homophones, a huge amount. Same in the maths, simpler worksheets, and then up to really quite complicated ones. Let's have a look at number bonds. So same step, choose content, work down here to change what you actually want on the sheet. So there we go. And again, save settings and make PDF. Okay, so we've been through most of this. The third area I mentioned, unique to busy things teacher mode, is this little drop down here. So you've got white labels and yellow labels. So the white labels are basically latest news, which you can also access here. But this is a link to the very latest. So there's been an update, segmenting for spelling. So if I click on that, it's taken me into the latest news area, July 2020. I can read about it here, and then I can actually look at the games that have been updated. On the left here, we've got a history of all the updates. So that's a link to here, and this upcoming events is a link to special events. So big butterfly count, July. So we can pin an entire event. Let's pin Climate Week into, there's no early years activities in there. So let's just go back and do that one, because that looks like there might be some, yeah, Mrs. Hall, upper reception, because that's now available, my setup. So I'm going to pin, it labels it for me, the big butterfly count. And you can obviously see future events coming up here. I'll just show you what we just did. There we go. Okay, I'm going to stop now because I think I've gone slightly over. I'm just looking in the chat. Pupil passwords, password logins from Tanya, that's a question that I will talk to you about. It depends on whether you're a London user or a Busy Things user. Claire Dundon asks, can you assign work individually or only as a group? So you could assign it individually if you made a setup for an individual, because that setup would then come with its own assignments area. In September, you'll be able to assign individually within a setup. But for now, the concept is a whole setup. I hope does that answer your question? So yeah, if you've got one individual child that you're particularly thinking about, make them their own setup and get them to use that assignments area. Again, that Natasha asks that same questions. If you can allocate an activity to a specific child, then I would create a setup for that child. Okay. I presume there's no more questions, unless somebody wants to unmute and ask one now. Oh, here we go. Okay, this is a question for a London Grid for Learning user. So London Grid for Learning users, the children cannot log in to a specific setup. So that's a facility that is out of our hands at the moment, and we're talking to LGFL about. That is only possible for Busy Things Direct subscribers at the moment. We're hoping that we can sort that out with them. Okay. I will send you all a link to the videos of today, and I will email Tanya some more information. So I hope that's all been useful. Okay, thanks everyone.